In the next 40 minutes, you're going to learn about the most important and high demand design skill of 2024, and that is design systems. Now, if you're serious about this, I want you to drop any other thing that you're doing. Put your phone on airplane mode, pick up pen and paper, and focus for the next 40 minutes. And I promise that the things that you learn will blow your mind. Okay, we have the title here. You guys know about me a little bit, right? I have 8 years of experience. I was by default biotechnology graduate. I wanted to be a developer, but somehow I ended up finding design a little more lucrative and became a designer. Maybe we can go in more depth of that journey later. Right now, we're here to talk about design systems in 24, what, why, and how. Before we go further with this session, I want to set the agenda of this session very straight, and that is design systems has a lot of things to actually cover. But because the field is so new, most of the subject matter expertise is actually hidden in teams who are practicing design systems diligently, right? The things that you see usually on Figma's YouTube channel or on YouTube are majorly about how to build good components, layer naming, right? How to build variants, etc., etc. What I'm going to talk to you about here today is the things that usually, at least I have not found in any of the YouTube channels so far. And a lot of these things are related to strategy and planning of design systems rather than exactly the implementation nitty-gritties of the design systems. But I do promise you, if you guys stay with me and also interact with me during the session, it will be fun and you guys will learn something that you wouldn't have found on the internet or YouTube. Okay? Shall we begin? Can we have a good yes? Okay. This is the agenda of the session. Okay, we'll be covering these things starting from the objective of the session. What is a design system? Why build design systems? What is design system life cycle? Design systems architecture, types, how to build and maintain. Okay, this is a quick overview. We can move ahead. Okay, now this is my goal. By the end of today's session, I want all of you should be able to should be actually confident enough to build, implement, and maintain design systems. There are 3 keywords here: build, implement, and maintain design systems. And there will be a few things about each of these keywords throughout this session. And yeah, okay. Yes, and to make this session more effective, I have a problem statement that we all will collaboratively try to solve or figure it out at least, which is design a strategy to implement design systems across 5 products under PhonePe. Okay? If you guys don't know, PhonePe, there's one product that we all use, which is PhonePe consumer app. There's also PhonePe merchant app. There's also Pin Code, which is an ONDC platform based e-commerce app. There's also Indus App Store, which is actually a competitor to Google Play Store. And there's also Share.market, which is a competitor to something like Zerodha or Grow. Right now, PhonePe has 5 products under it. Our goal is, we'll imagine PhonePe does not have any design systems yet. Okay? And whatever we learn today, we'll see if any of you were, let's say, given the task of planning the design systems for PhonePe, would you be able to do it based on things that you're learning today? Okay? Now, by the end of today's session, these are broadly 3 questions that any of you should be able to answer, which is, how will you plan and organize all 5 design systems? How will you build them? And how will you maintain them? Are we good to go so far? Keep on saying yes, because I'm already sweating and it's really hot in here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is how the PhonePe's product portfolio looks like. Okay, that's parent organization, and under that there are 5 different products. Keep this image in mind because it will be very helpful later on. Now, okay, are we ready? Just give me one more shout out and we'll start. Yes. Perfect. Next. Okay. What is a design system? Before I move further, I want to kind of somebody to volunteer and say what is their interpretation of design systems. Tejas, what is your interpretation of design systems?
So, according to me, as far as I know, design system is like, so there are 2 parts of design system. One is what everyone sees, like components, style guides, which we all do, right? And second part is about what are the things which go behind creating those systems, those components or those style guides, and how do you make sure that everyone who is using those will be easily understand like how to use it and all. So one is the visual side which we see, and one is the process side which we see.
Awesome, awesome, very smart guy. Also my student. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, next slide. Okay. So principally, design system is actually design infrastructure. Infrastructure is one term that we don't usually associate much in design, and that is also because we designed in a very chaotic manner. We want one color someday, the other day we want to change the color of that button. We like one design of the card one day, and then 1 month later we want to design something else, right? But if you implement design system is going to act as design infrastructure. Sometimes it's a style guide. Now what's a style guide? A style guide is a collection of all of the fundamental building blocks of any design, which is color, typography, grid, spacing, layout, icon, motion, imagery, or illustration. Okay? That's a style guide. Sometimes a design system is a style guide combined with a component library, which is the component that you used using the style guide that you built. But sometimes a design system can be a style guide, a component library, pattern library, documentation, tokens, dev handoff, implementation, guidelines and process, and a lot more. That means there is no set definition of what actually can go in a design system. Depending on the org that you're in, the product that you're designing, the team, the maturity of the design team that you're working in, design system can take any shape or form. It could be a combination of any of these things. But what it always is a product that needs to be designed, maintained, and improved upon. I want to repeat, we're not talking about the product that you were building using the design system, but the design system itself is a product that has to be not just designed, but maintained and improved upon. Why? Because design system is design infrastructure. What is infrastructure here, right? The strength of these pipes, the strength of this floor, the strength of this table determines how easily, comfortably you'll be able to use this building. If this infrastructure over time starts deteriorating, right? If you don't maintain it, you will not be able to work in this environment. And that is why if you don't really maintain and improve your design systems over time, they'll start to lose value. Okay? Are we clear so far? Yeah. Are we clear? What design system is? It is design infrastructure. If there's only one definition you want to carry from this presentation, understand what is design system? Design system is design infrastructure. Now, what does a design system do? The core goal of design system is to align branding and unify the experience. When I say align branding, what happens is most of us actually work in organizations which have one product, right? So you have one logo which has some primary color, you make that primary color the primary color of your buttons also. In your head, your branding is aligned. Okay? As you move on, as you work with organizations with more and more products and greater complexity, this itself becomes a challenge. For example, when I was working in Airtel before PhonePe, our primary color was red. Now imagine if I want to make that as a primary color of my buttons, and I want people to do a recharge on the Airtel Thanks app, which is bright red, right? Nobody would really like to do that recharge, but what I'm doing is aligning the branding, right? But again, that's why as you move, as you go and encounter problems with greater complexity, design systems come into use. We'll see how. And also, yeah, unifying the experience, which is a brand may have multiple touch points. Your app or website is only one of them, right? The graphic that was there in this presentation, right, before this, that was one of the touch points that you people are having with Madrasters community. Your socials, your prints, right, your banners on a highway, all of those are different touch points. And design systems will help you align all of them. Now, this is how Gmail looked like in 2013. Next. And this is how it looks today. And design systems has played a big role in not just improving, people help improve designs, improve Gmail. It has also helped Google align Gmail, calendar, photos, maps, right? Today, if I show you any new app, you would look at it, and if it has any resemblance to any product from Google, you'll be like, "Ye Google jaisa lag raha hai," right? If any design website is trying to copy Apple, you'll be like, ये Apple का copy कर रहा है, right? How do you know that? How do you know it so easily? Because the principles that were set by one team, which was trying to align the branding and unify the experience, have actually worked, right? The systems that they would have set, they have actually worked. That's why our goal is to understand a little bit of what goes behind inside of these things. And in case you guys didn't notice, I was a Tate fan. Yeah. Okay, why build design system? This is a very theoretical side, but I'll make it really quick. There are 6 core benefits to design systems. It helps to improve cross-functional collaboration. Since there is only one language that designers are also using, developers are also using, right? It will help you collaborate with them. Stable product. Because there's only one variant, one stable variant, or one stable type of one component, right? There's not multiple personalities of things existing. Your product has more chances of becoming stable. Governance. When everything is there in one library, you can easily control what goes in, what goes out, what becomes what. Single source of truth. Again, one source helps you kind of in general govern and also maintain a single source of truth in sense ke duplicity is removed. Because duplicity is removed, the single source of truth helps. Common language across teams. So design system not just helps align designers and developers, you can actually extend it to marketing people also, right? Social media people also, right? Even your sales people who are going to print new and new banners and stick anywhere without actually UX design team notice. It will also help them. And then data-driven results. So what happens is, if some part of your design is actually not working out, okay, or some component is not working out particularly, okay, design system, because it has a lot of methods to implement analytics, it also helps you improve your components with data. Types of designs. Okay, this is where we are getting into the meat of the presentation, okay. There'll be 8 to 10 slides, 20 something slides, but yeah, this will be very important. The first type of design systems is single brand design systems. Now, most of us, when we think about design systems, this is what comes in our mind. We're like, GitHub ka primer, Zomato has sushi, Salesforce has lightning design systems. But there are also multi-brand design systems. And the beauty of design system comes into play when you are building multi-brand design systems. How a multi-brand design system will look like is, there'll be one parent brand, and under that, a lot of other brands will exist, which may or may not incorporate something from this brand, okay? Depending on what they want, we'll actually look at that. Yeah, now, okay. Design system architecture. Types is clear, no? There's only 2 types, single brand, multi-brand. Under multi-brand, there are more things, which are here. Next, this. Branded house. What exactly is a branded house? So, if there is one parent brand and all of the child brands actually inherit the same characteristics from the parent brand, this architecture will be called a branded house architecture. Okay? Another one, house of brands. This is the example that we heard, which is, there is a parent brand. Under that, there are multiple brands, but they're not really inheriting any qualities of the parent brand. This architecture, this organization is called house of brands architecture. And then there is this blended or hybrid house architecture, which is, there is one parent brand, and under that, there are a few brands which are inheriting the characteristics, and there are few brands which are not. Now, you might be wondering, ज्ञान तो मिल गया, इसका करना क्या? ठीक है? Now, the reason we need to understand brand architecture is, in the end, you're going to be designing your design system in Figma, assuming right now Figma. It will help you design, or let's say, it will help you plan and organize how many component libraries you're going to have. Because in the end, when you build design systems and when you send it to people, what are you going to share? You're going to share a component library. Okay? Having an understanding of brand architecture will actually help you decide how many component libraries you're going to make and what will go inside that library. We'll see that in the next slide. Now, okay, let's see. In an org with branded house architecture supporting 4 products. We remember branded house architecture, right? There was one parent brand and under that there were some brands and all of them were looking exactly like the parent brand. In a branded house architecture, imagine Google is trying to implement design systems. The way they'll construct the architecture of their Figma libraries is they'll make one parent library, which will be their global library. Now, in that library, they will put in everything that they want to be same across the product. For example, all of the buttons. The primary buttons, because everything is following the same architecture, primary button will be the same. It is going to be there in the main library. Input fields, it is going to be there in the same library. If you guys want to understand it more clearly, how many of you have generated that material design ka theme using the material plugin? Right? We've seen that. Most of us have not done it. Okay. 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 So when you generate that theme or library, right, you get a list of a lot of basic components that that you can use in any product. Buttons aate hain, alerts aata hai, tags aata hai. Okay? But do you think Google Pay, if we talk about Google Pay, which is one of the products under them, do you think Google Pay you can build entirely using all of the components from that theme? No, right? There'll be so many new components under this, which means even if there is one parent brand, there will be a lot of the unique requirements of whatever product is using that. Those will be built under local libraries. This is important. The moment you start to build bigger and more complex design systems, right? Depending on the brand architecture, this is the first thing that you have to kind of come up with. What is the library architecture? In branded house, there will be one parent library and more local library. Next. Then, now imagine if it was not a branded house, it was a house of brands, which means every brand had its unique library, unique identity. In that case, this is the kind of architecture will happen, which is every brand will have one local library, one main library, and one local library. One main, one local. Is that making sense to all of you? Or is it too new and too boring? Make sense? Make sense so far? Okay. Now, let's say, now we'll look at this image, and now I would want somebody to volunteer and tell me what kind of architecture should be used. Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. I'll pick one person and I'll see.
The third one. There was one branded house, there was house of brand, and the third one which had the Coca-Cola one inside.
Hybrid or blended house. Okay, one reply. Blended house. Okay, why did you say that?
Because it is using the same as the main logo, I say.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the typo is same, but the colors are different. The colors are similar.
Okay. I'll add in one information, and that is, even though this color looks the same, they're actually different. This color might look the same, they're actually different. One hint is, their core brand identity is actually different. Okay? Even though here it may seem that yeah, 2 are purple, 2 are green, they're actually all 5 are different. Now, if all 5 are different, do you still think it is hybrid house?
But again, the icon is same for the.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else apart from Shivani? Anybody else wants to try? Yes. Okay. This is House of Brands. The reason is, even though those, can we go back to that slide momentarily? Yeah. Okay. This happened out of laziness because they did not want to actually spend that much time. But yeah, this logo is different. For PhonePe, this logo is different. This is different. And these colors are different. So yeah, the way PhonePe follows, the architecture PhonePe follows for this is House of Brands. Okay. Now, okay, understanding design system life cycle. Before we go here, okay, let's go here first. Next. Okay. Next. So there are two ways a design system comes into the life of any organization. How many of you are actually working in teams which have good design systems? Okay, good. How many of you are actually planning to build design systems? A lot, many. Perfect. Which means these are the two buckets that you will be falling in, right? Which is, if you're planning to build a design system, you'll either pick one design system or build one design system first and then start building the product with it, or you'll build the product for some time, right? And then you'll implement that design system in the existing product. Okay? Only those two cases. One is start with a system. Two is implement a system later on. Now, imagine this constraint. If PhonePe did not have a design system for the first 7 years to start with, and PhonePe starts to or wants to build a design system today, which path were they following? Now go back to the previous one. Yeah. Which path are they going to follow? Perfect, perfect. That was a wake-up call, like just to check if you guys are awake. Perfect. Next slide. Now, when you implement a design system in a product, this is a common journey that happens, which is you initially build a system or you adopt a system, then you start using it. Okay? This is the most happy phase of any design system. As time goes by, you tend to make new and new components, right? New and new components are coming, new and new colors are coming. You start to overload your design system. The moment design system starts to get overloaded, फिर उसके साथ काम करना boring हो जाता है, ठीक है? Then usually some people will have some new creative awakening and they'll be like, new direction. So you start to diverge. The moment you start to diverge, because your design system is already by this point, it's probably 1.5 years old, right? You find your design system to be boring. You slowly start to abandon it. And then once you have abandoned it, the only choice that you have left is you have to rebuild it. Now that's approach one. While in ideal case, if you had a design system or if you had somebody who was like working full time on design systems, what should they do? What they should do is you should build, then you use, happy face. Then you start thinking about maintaining your design system. Okay? And then you reuse the same things. Then you deprecate the things that are not of use anymore. Then this is the point where things are starting to become boring and you might actually have a creative awakening here. Instead of abandoning your existing design system, you start to re-customize your design system. Don't go about building new and new buttons. Don't go about building new and new input field components. Instead, re-customize what you already have. And then you repeat this process. Okay? Which is build karo, use karo, maintain, and then start to reuse things, start to deprecate things that are not of value, remove them from your design system. How many of you have actually asked to remove things or remove things from design systems? Out of the people who have been working with design systems? Nahi? No, right? Which means, can we go back to the previous slide? Right now you're here. Right? And you can actually see that within the 3 to 6 or max to max 1 month where your design system is going. Okay? Now, very simple question. If PhonePe wants to succeed with design systems in the long run, which approach should they choose? Which approach will you guys choose? अभी भी doubt है, ठीक है, next. Okay, now, so yeah, the harsh truth is these 4 steps are the steps where most teams start to fail. I'll just dive in a little bit deeper as to what happens there. That is, in maintenance phase, systems won't build correctly. Like what happens is, very simple example, colors. You had that swatch of 10 colors, right? Light to dark. They were not built correctly. For example, you chose purple 500 as your primary color. Now you need a hover state for that color. But purple 600 is too dark. And purple 400 is too light. Right? Has this happened to you or not? Right? But you don't have a color in between them. Now, you'll either stop using that color or you'll find some hacky hex code somewhere and just plug it in and be like, developer, bhaiya bas bana do isko. Right? Next, reuse. Why do people not reuse? Which is, designers keep designing for one-off use cases. Me and Shivani, we were fighting to one of the designers like literally yesterday. They came up with some concept. For example, the alert component is there, right? They had one flow where they came up with a new design for that alert component, and they kept everything the same, and they just changed background color by a little bit. Now that solved that particular use case was solved because they were like, "Is flow mein acha lag raha hai." I'm like, if I change this component, there are 20 or probably 200 other places where that component is being used. If you're updating some component, components are global, right? Components are global. Components are not actually supposed to solve one use case. They're supposed to be repeatable design patterns. But yeah, they start solving for one-off use cases and then they start to diverge. Then deprecate. Very simple. The moment you know that this thing is not being used, remove it. Don't keep it in the system. Recustomize. Again, new concepts keep getting designed and the old concepts are still in there. Okay? These are 4 very common mistakes that happen. Now, what should you do to basically go away from these problems? Okay? The next slide is fun one. This is my analogy, and that is, you build your system like it's a monster. Why a monster? Monsters can survive hardships. Okay? When you're building the system, try to build it as strong as possible. Read, talk, learn new things, discuss with people. Auto layout lagana hai, lagao. Variant banana hai, banao. Layer name karna hai, karo. Build it. Build your system to be a monster. But the moment a system is built, when it is getting used, right, and changes are happening, protect it like it's a child. Which is, try to anticipate anything that is good for the system, put it in the system. Try to anticipate what might harm the system, which is people exploring new design languages for no particular reason, right? Try to protect the system from those things. Okay? Keep it in mind. It will be fun one to actually tell your colleagues also that I'll build my system like it's a monster, but I'll protect my system like it's a child. Okay? Now, how would you do it? Okay? Next one. Okay. So, this is a process that we follow in PhonePe to build design systems. Shivani knows already. This we call 3-phase process. Okay? That is, do the product audit, style guide and tokenization, and third stage is master library creation. How many of you have heard of product audit before in the context of design systems? One smart guy. She's a design systems expert already. What do you do, bro? Which organization you work in?
So I'm in a startup in HSR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done an audit?
Yeah. So basically, we had different products for, like, say, consumer facing and business side, and some for inventory management, some for core solutions. So let's say when systems were not implemented, buttons were different, the dialog boxes were different. So you like identifying what's the need,
Yeah.
why build the system, and
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Okay, for other people who have not really heard of the term product audit, what happens is when you have a product that has been running without a system, and we know, right, most products are actually running today without design systems because design systems nahi hai, products pehle se chal rahe. Which means most of you will be following that approach too. You'll be implementing a design system in an existing product, which also means that this is the process that any of you will follow or will have to follow when you're building design system. The first thing that you'll have to do is product audit. Now, there's a lot that can happen on product audit. I can actually take a 45-minute session on how to conduct a product audit. Right now, I'll just give you the gist of it. That is, the goal of a product audit is very simply 2 things. You find patterns and you also find inconsistencies. Is that a good summarization? Yeah? You find patterns and you find inconsistencies. You keep the patterns will be added to the design system, and then the inconsistencies will be removed from the design system. Okay? Keep this in mind. The goal of a product audit is find patterns, find inconsistencies, keep the pattern, remove inconsistency. Now, the next stage is style guide. So, out of the patterns that you have found, okay, first just extract the building blocks, which is color, typography, grids, spatial system, etc. Okay? You extract these building blocks. This is the immediate next step. The moment you have audited, right, if you found 10 dialog boxes ka style and you want only 2 of them, don't just go and update the rest of the 8 dialog boxes. No. Extract these patterns first. Okay? Tokenization I have kept in here, but again, tokenization is a very vast topic. Maybe we'll do some other session with Madrasters for tokenization. But yeah, just imagine the next step. As a next step, you extracted your style guide and then you used that style guide to actually create the master library. Okay? 3-phase process. First, Tejas, what was the first step? You're using a phone. Audit, perfect. What was the second step, Ajay?
Try to make the tokenization
And? Okay. I'll keep people awake if people sleep. Okay. And the third stage is master library creation. Okay. Now, once you're done with this, your goal is to release the system so that people can start using it and then maintain it. There's a note I have written. The thing is that most young designers or most people who are actually getting familiar with design system, they think that this is where the job of a design system designer ends. मैंने audit कर दिया, style guide बना दिया, component library बना दिया, right? Release कर दिया, publish. Now people are using it. Most people are like, I'm a design system designer now. ठीक है? In reality, this is where the job of a design system designer begins. Shivani, yes or no? Shivani knows. For just quick story, we released our design system in PhonePe. I think it would be right now 9-10 months ago. It took us 3 to 4 months core to build it. For the last 9 months, we have been maintaining it. Now you might feel कि how hard it would be to actually maintain a design system, right? ऐसा क्या करना होता है? Shivani, can you give a quick story what happens when we are maintaining the design system?
So, yeah, it's like you need to run a lot of, first thing is, you need to get this adopted. So if you have a huge team like PhonePe, so our system is used by almost, so our current design system is used by almost 40 designers, product and UI designers, and the pain point is how to get this adopted. So you need to run a lot of training sessions, you need to do a lot of feedback loops, and consistently seeking feedback and talking to them. What's working out, what's not working out. And the other part is like you need to do good communication with them in terms of, let's say, how are you going to do the governance?
Yeah.
Say. So, for example, you build a component, how to ensure that there is a new variant added, and how do you inform these 40 designers?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things you can do, like we follow versioning process. So for each and every component,
Yeah.
we have versioning. We name it versioning process in terms of sub patch update,
Yeah.
update or major update. 3 things. Like we have 3 level of maintenance process, and and then we communicate over emails.
Yeah, this basically so much that we have been doing in the last 8 to 9 months we never anticipated. Thank you, Shivani. Okay.
What will you do if somebody detaches a component? How would you
So
cover it?
you are the inspector, you know, just
Yeah, that's how it is. Especially design system, people get really annoyed if we detach a component.
So yeah, the thing is, now your major role starts. Now you need to understand why they did that. It's not like you have to be
Protect like a child. Protect like a child.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like
That's why we get annoyed.
And you have to be the mature person, maybe in the entire design team, like where you are going to understand why it is happening and understand their needs. Because now your end users are these designers, not your customers.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
as a product designer, you need to empathize with them. It's the first and foremost thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Shivani. Okay. Now, so we just heard about one process, which is how do you build design systems? You follow the simple 3-phase process: audit, style guide, master library creation. After that, you go full on into release and maintenance. Now, luckily, because I'm a process-oriented person, for release and maintenance, I have another process. Now, so how do you maintain? The first thing is that you have to repeat the three-phase process, by the way. When she said no, that yeah, for the last 8-9 months we've been maintaining it. How have we been maintaining it? The audit that we ran to build the design system, we have been repeatedly running those audits. For the first 3 months, let's say you three were my teammates, right? You pushed one release. Okay? All of the things that you built, the design system team will go take those files from you and will run another audit. Either quarterly, depending on the time and bandwidth. If there's too many releases going on, quarterly, little less, bi-yearly or maybe yearly, but you have to re-audit. And when you re-audit, there'll be some things, again, patterns and inconsistencies will come. So you'll again add those patterns. You'll again remove those inconsistencies. So the first thing is to maintain, you have to repeat the three-phase process. And then you follow 3E process. Now, the 3E process is, this 3E process actually helps you mature your design system. Okay? This is educate, engage, and evolve. The steps that Shivani was mentioning just now, right? We do this, we talk to people, we ask, we set up meetings. All three of those actually fall under these. The definition, I'll read it out for you. The three-stage process is a guiding philosophy. It's literally a guiding philosophy. It's not a very step-by-step framework that you do educate first and you engage. No. These are 3 E's that you can do them asynchronously. The first E stands for educate. In this E, we actually create subject matter understanding among our target users, which are fellow designers. How do we do it? For example, I have built my components using auto layout. Okay? And I know that if other designers also start using auto layout, my designs, like basically the handoff will become better. Now I can't just enforce it. What we have done is, we decided to educate them first, which is we planned a workshop with them so that we could educate them. Another thing, one more example. Let's say you build the design system, you want to do an audit again. You want 2 weeks time. And your stakeholders are not allowing you. Okay? But because you know that this is very important to the maturity of your design system, what will you do? You'll go and educate your stakeholders. Okay? Keep this in mind. Educate, you'll constantly have to educate people. Second thing is engage. And that is, a lot of the times you'll have to work hands-on with your designers. What happens is sometimes we build really big components which have like 100 use cases, and left, like in the right panel, you'll see a lot of toggles and drop-downs. People sometimes don't really know how to find one particular variant. Right? They're like, ये वाला use case किधर पे, जिस पे ये list item के start में icon है, last में checkbox है और बीच में 3 line का text है. Right? Because you gave them one component. That's a very simple example, but in those times, you need to work hands-on with the designers. You can't actually just schedule a meeting कि 1 घंटे की meeting रखते हैं, हम list item बनाना सीखें. No. A lot of the times, you'll just need to sit with them, immediately engage hands-on, go to their desk, see their file, be like, let me do it for you. Okay? Third is evolve. Evolve is personally my favorite step. What happens is, as the system, as you constantly do engage and evolve, what will happen is people will start to use it. People will start to actually follow the best practices. That is the time when you have the opportunity to evolve your design system, which is, you can now raise the bar of your design system. For the last 6 months, let's say your team was using Figma styles. People got comfortable. Now, maybe try to evolve your design system to Figma variables or design tokens, right? People are very comfortable making screens. Maybe it's time to introduce interactive components and high fidelity prototyping there. As a design system team, a lot of the times you're like the technical supervisor also, because you know Figma the best, you're always the most advanced people. Take care. So you'll also have to make sure that your design system and the design is evolving. Now, to summarize, during the 3E process, you talk to your designers, you help them as and when they need it, you host meetings and workshops, and you raise the bar. Okay, we have only a little bit more. Now, can we now say that the 3-phase process that we understood about and the 3E process are something that PhonePe should be following to build and maintain design systems? Do you guys see the value in it now? Perfect. Now we are coming to the end of the presentation. This probably next. Next. This is the last thing. If you have understood whatever we have talked about so far, okay, and you guys are actually serious to implement design systems in your organization, this list, this is the bare minimum processes that you need to document separately so that you can actually follow those 3E, 3-phase, etc., etc. Okay? Take a screenshot. I'll anyway share the slides. But these 10 processes are the least. In PhonePe, we have somewhere around 40 such processes because everything has a documentation, everything has a process. Again, this is a beginner-friendly list. Okay? Next. Okay. Now, can you guys answer these 3 questions now? The problem statement that we set at the beginning. How will you plan and organize all 5 design systems of PhonePe? What was the brand architecture we decided to use? Perfect. Now, how will you build the design system? What was the process? There are 2, 3. Huh? 3-phase process. That's 3-phase process. Awesome. How will you maintain the design system? Awesome. That's my time. Thank you, guys. Okay.